What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another one. So today I'm going to show you guys how to use a diaphragm in order to make an elk sound. So this is going to be sort of for beginners, a little bit of advanced stuff, but I always used to use the Primos, the one with the blue lid on it, until I heard Phelps, this brand, on a podcast, and I said, man, Primos is in trouble because this stuff sounds way too realistic. So ever since then, I've just switched over to this. I like it a lot. I'm going to be using the Maverick today from them. They have a whole line of different styles and different colors, but the different colors, it's just that these are a little bit tighter, so they produce a little bit different noise. This amp is sort of like a mid-range. It does so it's sort of like if you're going to just start out, see what you like, this is probably something that's going to be good, because it's going to just be perfectly average. But I like it, so I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. So what I want you guys to do, if you're a beginner, is first of all, get one of these little cases. They come in little bags, you can leave them in there. I have one of these old Primos cases. But throw it in your dash of your truck or your car or whatever, and on your way to and from work, just put it in your mouth and just practice, make some noises, even if it doesn't sound that good. But make sure that it's in this case and in your dash, because if it's on your dashboard and the sun hits it, you're gonna ruin them. So that's just something to remember. So what I want you guys to do first is just put it in your mouth. Now they have these little notches like that, and for me it fits to where my canine teeth are about right there, and it's gonna fold on you just a little bit like that, but it's gonna have to fit in. That's just my mouth is probably not the same as everybody's, so it's gonna have to be a little bit different. That's just where it fits in my mouth, but it's just gonna be comfortable right there. And then also I can flip it over, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But then you're gonna want to get your tongue and kind of arch it a little bit, and then put that underneath your reed a little bit. So it's going to be in your mouth like that, and then your tongue is going to come up underneath and push up on the reed just like that. And then you're going to blow. And at first you're going to have a really hard time, but hopefully you should be able to get some noise. If it starts to tickle the tip of your tongue, you need to back your tongue up or push your tongue forward a little bit, because you're too close to the tip of your tongue. So what I want you guys to do first is just put it in your mouth and just make some random noises. And don't be trying to get too far ahead of yourself, but I want you guys to just try to, once you figure out how to make a noise, just try to hold a note, try to make it a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but try to hold a note. That's going to help you out a lot. So, like I said, you're going to learn the most whenever you're driving around making random noises. People are going to look inside your truck or your car, and they're going to think you look like an idiot, but that's okay, because you're going to be one of the better elk callers whenever September rolls around. So once you get that down, we'll try to get a cow call down. So a cow call is like ew, ew. Here, I guess I could just make a noise. I have the call. So what I'm doing there is I'm not really doing anything special with my mouth. It's mostly air that I'm controlling. So it's going, but I'm also dropping my jaw there at the end. And when I drop my jaw, it's sort of like forcibly taking my tongue off the reed. So it's making that noise just stop. So it's going like this. So that's just a cow. Now, here's something that everybody wants to see, is of course the bull. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do a bugle. Now they sell this tube here, and I started doing some research on him, because after I heard him for the first time, I got really interested in the company. And apparently, when they first started out, these were wiffle ball tubes, or wiffle ball bats, so like that. But now they've kind of modified them. See, like there's that huge lip in there, and there's a little bit tapered right there. But if you guys are in a pinch, like you know, it's the last week and you're watching this video before your hunt, and you can find a reed but you can't find a bugle tube. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but if it does, you can go and get yourself a wiffle ball tube, cut off the ends. That's what they did in the beginning, and it'll still work. But I do definitely recommend you get an actual tube. They're pretty nice, and plus they do something where they create back pressure in certain spots. They're a little bit better built. Anyway, I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do the elk or the bull. So this is where that holding that note practice comes into play. So you're going to, instead of dropping your jaw, you're going to start out small, and then you're going to go wee like that. So I'll go ahead and try it, show you. And also, I'm doing a little bit of a growl whenever I start and begin. So I'm going like that. This looks ridiculous. I don't know if you guys are laughing at me, but yeah, so it's sort of like that. But again, so now with the cow, the difference between the cow and the bull is the cow, I'm putting a little bit more pressure on here, but with the bull, I'm just barely touching it. And it's really hard to explain over a video, but I'm barely touching it, and like I said, how the cow, you're letting your breath control the note. This is sort of like I'm barely touching it, and then as I'm coming up, I'm lifting my tongue just a little bit, putting a little bit more pressure on that reed. And hopefully you guys will be able to translate what I'm trying to get across to you guys. But so there's the bull. So last thing I'll talk about is the chuckle. So this is something that the herd bull, it's really, a lot of people kind of debate on what the chuckle is, but it's that classic after the bugle, it's the ba-doo, 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 ba-doo. There's a guy out there, and if you've heard of me, you've probably heard of this, of Remy Warren. He has a podcast called Cutting the Distance, and I'll put the number right below me right now. You guys should really go check that out. He really goes into depth of like different elk sounds that he's noticed, and if you guys aren't familiar with him, he's a huge hunter. He's travels the world. He used to be a guide. I mean, he's just more of an experienced hunter than I can ever hope to be. But he goes into you know, I'll give you guys one example. So he talks about, in this situation, he's up on the ridge, he lets out a bugle, and then he watches the timer on his watch, and then he'll say, okay, I didn't get a response for 90 seconds. Then he'll wait 90 seconds and then bugle back, and then watch again, and then he'll say, okay, he responded in 60 seconds, and then he'll bugle again in 60 seconds. So it's things like that. It was a really interesting podcast, and I really recommend you guys go watch it. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do the chuckle. So it goes like this. So that is one of the easiest and one of the hardest, because there's no change in pitch on it. It's just I'm getting my tongue, and I have the muscle memory from practicing, like I was saying, and I'm just going like this with my tongue. I'm just going, I'm just kind of hitting it where I need that note, letting go, hitting where I need that note, letting go. And that usually follows after a bugle. All right, guys, so I think that that's going to about wrap it up. If you're a New Mexico resident or you're looking to apply in New Mexico, I just want to remind you guys that the deadline's coming up here in a month. I wanted to make this video before the draw came up, or the deadline for the draw came up, so that way if any of you guys are rifle hunters and or even, no, I guess rifle hunters, I don't want you guys to be thinking, well, I'd like to try archery, but I don't really know how to do an elk bugle. It's not that hard. Really recommend that you guys give it a try. It's something fun to learn if you're an outdoorsman. But like I was saying, best way to learn, I'm telling you guys, this is how I learned how to duck call. This is how I learned how to use one of these. I just threw it in my truck as I was going to school. you know, back in high school, as I was driving to school in the morning, I'd get my duck calls out, or I'd get my elk call out, and I would just start making some noise, and eventually I'd figure out, okay, I learned how to put these two notes together, so now I can try to do this, and it's the best way to learn, in my opinion. You look like a weirdo driving down the highway, but it's the best way to learn. But I hope you guys learned this video. If you have any questions or comments about something I didn't cover, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But until the next one, I'll see you later.